So today we're going to be going through the fighters with the biggest losing streak in every single UFC weight class and who they should fight next. Starting off in the heavyweight division, we have got fan favourite Tai Tuivasa. Now Tai Tuivasa somehow is ranked inside the top 10 of the UFC's heavyweight division. That just goes to show how dog shit this division actually is. Tai Tuivasa has a professional MMA record of 15 wins, 8 losses. I'm going to say this twice so the people at the back can hear me. Tai Tuivasa is on a 5-fight losing streak. Again, I'm going to say it again. Tai Tuivasa is on a 5-fight losing streak. Let's go through the names that Tai Tuivasa has lost to. So he lost to Ciryl Gane. I don't think that's a bad loss, especially whenever you go back and watch that fight. It was a very fun matchup. Tai Tuivasa had moments in there, but Ciryl Gane, for the amount of hate the guy gets, I still do think Ciryl Gane is one of the elite heavyweights right now in the UFC's heavyweight division. He got stopped in that matchup. Moving on to Sergey Pavlovich. Pavlovich has kind of lost all of his aura at the moment, if we're being honest, after Volkov beat him up while having his hair combed in between rounds. And then when Pavlovich came back, he turned into a wrestler against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But this was prime Pavlovich when he was demolishing everybody, beat up Tai Tuivasa, stopped him in the first round. He also went on to fight for the interim heavyweight title. Not that bad of a loss. Volkov took him down and subbed him. Volkov beat him pretty easy, if we're being honest. Again, Volkov is one of the better heavyweights in my opinion. So I don't think that's that bad of a loss. Although, when you look at that, that's 3 in a row. Then that starts to be a problem. Then this is where it gets progressively worse for Tai Tuivasa. He then got submitted by Tybura. Great fighter. Marcin Tybura took him down and subbed him. I think he subbed him, was it the first or second round? I can't remember off the top of my head. That there is not a great loss to have. Like, Tybura is like the fraud check king, but to be finished by him wasn't a good look for Tai Tuivasa. And then he got styled on by Jairzinho Rozenstruik. That was his last fight. So he's on a 5-fight losing streak, losing to Gane, Pavlovich, Volkov, Tybura, and Jairzinho. And the fact that UFC cut Jairzinho but have kept Tai Tuivasa around is absolutely mind-boggling. Now, you might be saying to me, what is next for the fan favourite Tai Tuivasa? I will tell you. Get your bags packed, you're heading to the GFL. This is the problem with the UFC and why this division is so shit. Stop keeping these guys who are on mega losing streaks, who, like, why? How is Tai Tuivasa inside the top 10? There is no way this division is this bad that you need to keep him around. There's no way. Like, maybe the GFL are going to be able to take him because they're basically fucking closed already without having an event. I'm not going to say I predicted that, but if you go back and look through the videos, I did predict that. No, actually, that's a lie. I predicted they'd have one event and then fold after that. They've actually surprised me and they've went and had 0 events, and it looks like they are going to be closing down. But Tai Tuivasa is not UFC level. I know the heavyweight division's ass. I know he's fun to watch and stuff like that, but the UFC's meant to be the prime, promotion where the best of the best go to compete. Tai Tuivasa, there's a load of guys in the regional scene that I think would be able to come in and handily beat Tai Tuivasa. Get the guy, send him to the PFL, let Ngannou beat him up, give him a nice payday. I don't see why he's in the UFC. He's not UFC quality in my opinion. Yes, he's fun, he's entertaining. Ship him to the GFL. That's where Tai Tuivasa is going. Moving on, light heavyweight division, we have got Alexander Rakic. Now, Rakic has a professional MMA record of 14 wins, 5 losses. He is currently on a 3-fight losing streak. He is somehow ranked inside the top 5 of the UFC's light heavyweight division. A part of me thinks that isn't right. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's ranked number 6. That's my bad. He is the 6th ranked UFC light heavyweight. Alexander Rakic is currently on a 3-fight losing streak. And again, he's lost to basically 3 of the best in the division. He lost to Jan Blachowicz. I think he got injured in that matchup, if I remember correctly. He then lost to Yuri Prohaska. Now, for those who remember UFC 300, Alexander Rakic was piecing up Yuri Prohaska, beating Yuri Prohaska pillar to post. But Yuri Prohaska...
This is how legends are made.
Yuri Prohaska channeled in his "This is how legends are made" and smoked Rakic. Really put a bad beating on him near the end in the finishing sequence of that fight. And then after that at UFC 308, he had that matchup against Magomed Ankalaev, who is now the UFC light heavyweight champion, so not a bad loss to have. None of them losses are really bad, to be honest. They're all the former, or two former and one current UFC light heavyweight champion. But he is on a 3-fight win streak. His last win, honestly, I actually can't remember who his last win's against. I actually cannot remember who his last win was against. Really, Alexander Rakic built his career off knocking out Jimmy Manuwa with a head kick. Literally, that is where like his career kind of took off from. Since then, he's kind of went down like the Steve Usyk path, where it's like, man, he's really technical. He's just unlucky, but he's really technical. And it seems to be a word people use. They're really technical. Yeah, but are they winning? No. Let's stop getting into this. Let's stop falling into this trap. I know, but look at the way like he throws that jab, and then the way he moves off, and the way like he has his left hand up when he throws the right hand. Who gives a fuck? He's losing constantly. Anyway, I've fallen for that trap too much of thinking like, oh, Rakic is really good leg kicks. The way he throws them, he's really technical with them. And then he gets fucking smoked. Who's next? It's Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes, he has kind of made a resurgence in the UFC. This guy beat John Jones, for those who don't remember. He is on a 3-fight win streak now. Really impressive win over Nikita Krylov at UFC 314. Obviously, Krylov was coming off a really lengthy layoff, but still, Dominic Reyes was the underdog going into that matchup. I thought Nikita Krylov would have just been too well rounded for him, but that was not the case. Dominic Reyes caught him with a big left hand and put him out cold. Dominic Reyes deserves a jump up in the rankings, in my opinion, and I think Alexander Rakic, the guy who's on a 3-fight losing streak, I think this is the perfect fight to make in the division. Perfect main card opener, perfect prelim headliner the International Fight Week. Dominic Reyes, Alexander Rakic, that is the fight to make next. Moving on, we are going to the middleweight division. Now this one might surprise a lot of people, but it actually is Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is now on a 3-fight losing streak. He's currently got a professional MMA record of 25 wins, 5 losses. He is currently ranked number 4 in the UFC's middleweight division, which is mad to think. If you think way back to when Adesanya was going in there against Paulo Costa when he grew that extra boob, when he came into the matchup against Paulo Costa with a triple XL boob, there's no way you would have imagined years down the line Adesanya would be on a 3-fight losing streak and losing to the likes of Sean Strickland, for example. That is correct. He is on a 3-fight losing streak. His last fight he got stopped by Nasruddin Imavov. What a performance from Imavov. I actually didn't realise I didn't understand Imavov's game. I didn't really understand he could fight like that until I seen that matchup against Israel Adesanya. He got smoked in there. He had a good performance against Dricus du Plessis. I'm going to be honest. In there against Dricus du Plessis, Adesanya did look good. In fact, going into the 4th round when he got finished, I had Adesanya winning the fight. But DDP's DDP, and like always, he found a way to win. And then before that, that was probably one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, where Sean Strickland was able to beat Israel Adesanya. Basically beat him up for all 5 rounds, took the fight in short notice, went to Australia, dropped Adesanya in the 1st round, and comfortably beat him throughout the rest of the fight. Izzy is on a 3-fight losing streak. He said he is going to come back, and I think this is the matchup next for him. I think they do the rematch between him versus Sean Strickland. It's a big money matchup. Israel Adesanya is still a big cash cow for the UFC. They know he's coming to the end of his career. They're going to try and milk him, dry, with all the amount of money they can get out of him. And I know Roman Dolidze's called him out. Let's be honest, Roman Dolidze, in terms of name value, the guy is a bit of a nobody. No offence to him, in terms of when you look at what Adesanya Strickland 2 would be compared to Adesanya versus Roman Dolidze. And Sean Strickland's coming off that loss to Dricus du Plessis. Sean Strickland, he can sell a fight. I think this would be the perfect co-main event. I think it's a fight that Adesanya would want, and I actually think it's a fight that Adesanya can win in the rematch. Now, I know Adesanya comfortably got beat first time around, but Adesanya does make adjustments between each fight where Sean Strickland doesn't. Like, Sean Strickland, you know what you're going to get. You know, at least Adesanya this time can probably game plan for the guy, because He knows what he's like to be in there with. He doesn't change his fight style ever. That's why if you look at DDP, Strickland 1, it was such a back and forth war, because he does have a tricky style to get used to, but when you rematch him, he never changes that style, and that's why DDP was able to have so much more success second time round. I think that's what's going to be next for Israel Adesanya. Moving on to the welterweight division. Now look, it is between Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns, but Gilbert Burns already has a matchup, so we're going to go with Kamaru Usman. I know Usman is on technically a 2-fight losing streak in the welterweight division. His last fight was in the let me try that again, folks. Kamaru Usman, he is on a 3-fight losing streak. I know that his last fight was in the middleweight division, so we are still going to count him being on a 3-fight losing streak, but in the welterweight division, he is on a 2-fight losing streak. Kamaru Usman has a record of 20 wins, 4 losses. He is currently ranked number 4 in the UFC's middleweight division. He is on a 3-fight losing streak, losing to Khamzat Chimaev, which I thought he was unlucky in, and that fight could have been scored a draw. And then his previous 2 matchups were Leon Edwards beat him by decision, and then Leon Edwards KO'd him. What's next for Kamaru Usman? I need him to get off that podcast with Henry Cejudo, stop yapping, get in the gym, start training, stop wasting time. Are you coming back or are you not? I think you are coming back. You can't hold and sit in that spot for too much longer. This is the perfect matchup. Joaquin Buckley deserves it. He is the dark horse of the UFC's welterweight division. Do not be surprised if this guy is welterweight champion in the near future. Joaquin Buckley, very explosive. You know, we know this guy can probably outstrength a lot of guys in this division because he had a run at middleweight. Good boxing, extremely powerful, pretty decent takedown defense in my opinion, pretty good takedown offense as well, I would say. I don't really think, when he gets up to these matchups, like, I don't see Joaquin Buckley taking down an Usman. I don't see him taking down a Bilal or a Shavkat, but it is an element of his game. He can offensively wrestle pretty decently, in my opinion, but I do think if he was to try and have a grappling matchup with the Shavkats, the Bilal, the Usmans, he would kind of get found out, to be honest. I know he had success with defending the takedowns against Colby, but Joaquin Buckley is like a ball of muscle. Colby Covington really should be fighting at lightweight. But back on track, Joaquin Buckley, Kamaru Usman is the matchup to make. Everybody has been talking about seeing this fight. I don't know why they haven't made this fight. It is the perfect matchup. Could you imagine if Joaquin Buckley beats Kamaru Usman? I think he would beat Kamaru Usman at this stage of Usman's career. Then you've got another contender. Let's get a load of contenders in the division. You know, like, the welterweight division actually doesn't have a clear-cut contender right now at the minute. You've obviously got JDM fighting Bilal for the belt, but that wasn't originally what was meant to happen. It was meant to be Shavkat. Shavkat pulled out. Then you had Sean Brady dominate Leon Edwards, so it should be Sean Brady versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Joaquin Buckley versus Kamaru Usman. I think that makes sense. That's how you line up the welterweight division. But this is definitely the fight to make. Joaquin Buckley deserves it. If Kamaru Usman's coming back, this is the fight to make. It's the one that the fans want. Moving on, in the lightweight division, shock horror, it is Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler, professional MMA record of 23 wins, 10 losses. He is currently now ranked number 12th in the UFC's lightweight division, coming off that loss to Paddy Pimblett. He is now on a 3-fight losing streak, losing to Paddy Pimblett, Charles Oliveira, and Dustin Poirier. What should be next for Michael Chandler? I think he should face the winner of Benoit Saint Denis versus Joel Alvarez. I'm pretty sure this is on the UFC 315 card in Canada. This will be a really fun one. This will be an all-out war between these two guys, I think. So at the end of this matchup, I think these guys will need time off. Michael Chandler's just got the absolute piss beat out of him by Paddy Pimblett, so he is going to need time off. I think whoever wins this matchup will have a fun fight against Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler, for how annoying he is, he always shows up and delivers fun fights. In terms of the rankings, Benoit Saint Denis is like ranked number 13th, I believe. Joel Alvarez is ranked number 14th, and with Michael Chandler being ranked number 12, it just makes sense. I just think this is the right option to do. The winner of Benoit Saint Denis versus Joel Alvarez taking on Michael Chandler, who is on a 3-fight losing streak now. Moving on to the featherweight division, we have got Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar, professional record of 23 wins, 9 losses. He is somehow ranked number 15th in the featherweight division, above Bryce Mitchell. Doesn't make any sense at all. He is on a 4-fight losing streak, losing to Yusuf Zalal, losing to Aljo, losing to Arnold Allen, and losing to Josh Emmett. What I think should be next for Calvin Kattar, if it isn't retirement, is he should welcome Nathaniel Wood to the UFC featherweight rankings. I think Nathaniel Wood, it is now or never for him. I think after that win over Morgan Charrier at UFC Fight Night London, he has deserved a top 15 ranked opponent, and I think Calvin Kattar is the perfect guy for Nathaniel Wood to fight next. That will show, is Nathaniel Wood top 15 worthy? And this fight will also show, does Calvin Kattar still have it to compete with these young prospects on the outskirts of the top 15 in the UFC's featherweight division? That is the matchup to make for them. Moving on to the bantamweight division, we have got Triple C, Henry Cejudo. This guy could have been an all-time great. He was on an all-time great run, beating Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, Marlon Moraes, Dominic Cruz, and then he ruined his career for money that he never got. Honestly, one of the saddest stories in MMA. Henry Cejudo has since came back. He's got a professional record of 16 wins, 5 losses. He is now ranked number 9 in the UFC's bantamweight division. He is currently on a 3-fight losing streak. Obviously, that last fight against Song Yudong was very controversial with an eye poke, etc. But he was losing that fight anyway, in my opinion. Like, he wasn't beating Song Yudong before the eye poke, but although he does have that eye poke as an excuse. And then before that, he lost to Merab, the current champion, and then lost to the former champion in Aljamain Sterling. What is next for Henry Cejudo? He says he's got one more fight left. Honestly, don't know why he bothered to come back and tarnish his legacy. His next fight has to be Jose Aldo. This is the fight to make. We were meant to get this fight. Then the world shut down due to the common cold. Dominic Cruz stepped in. Aldo is fighting at UFC 315 against, I can't even remember, Zahabi. Why the fuck have they even made that matchup? But that is what should be next for Henry Cejudo, is a matchup against Jose Aldo. Whether he wins, whether he loses at UFC 315, I need to see this fight. Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, book it. Legend versus legend. That there would be an awesome fight night main event. Imagine fight night main event in Brazil. Well, it depends. If Aldo's going to retire as well, I wouldn't mind seeing it in Brazil. If Aldo's not going to retire, I wouldn't mind seeing it in Phoenix for Henry Cejudo in a fight night main event. Like, that there is a great fight night main event, in my opinion. Aldo versus Henry Cejudo. If not, it could be a main card opener, I suppose. With the name value, you can maybe have as like a co-main event if the main event is like really stacked. Although, I think it would be perfect as a fight night main event. And finally, moving on, we have got Steve Ercik in the flyweight division. He has currently got a professional MMA record of 12 wins, 4 losses. He is ranked number 9 in the UFC's flyweight division. He is now on a 3-fight losing streak, losing to Pantoja, the champ. Which is just crazy that the UFC rushed Steve Ercik into that position after knocking out Matt Chanel. How he got that matchup against Pantoja, it just goes to show how weak the flyweight division was and kind of still is. Obviously, there's a lot more new contenders resurfacing. You've got Brandon Royval up there. Obviously, Pantoja's fought him loads of times, so don't need to see that again. You've also got Manel Kape, someone that Pantoja has beaten, but it was years ago. And this is what we're seeing in the flyweight division. Pantoja is just having to rinse and repeat the same opponents because he's already beaten all these guys on his way to the title. But you've got him, you've got Moreno coming off a win over Steve Ercik. You've got Kai Kara-France, who I believe is going to be fighting for the belt next. And I actually think Kai Kara-France versus Pantoja, even though Kai Kara-France is only on a 1-fight win streak and it is over Steve Ercik, he did knock him out in the first round. Steve Ercik did give Pantoja some problems. I never understood the narrative that Steve Ercik beat Pantoja. Never made any sense to me whatsoever. But he did give him some problems in there in terms of the scrambles. And I think Kai Kara-France Pantoja, even though they've already fought on The Ultimate Fighter before years ago, I think Kai Kara-France's fight style will give Pantoja some problems. I mean, he's got good takedown defense, great balance as well. Go back and watch the Askar Askarov matchup and see how good Kai Kara-France's takedown defense is. He's probably the biggest puncher in the flyweight division right now. and he's got great striking. So I think Pantoja Kai France will co-main event UFC 317, and I think it will be a fun co-main event. Don't know how I got sidetracked that bad. Back to Steve Usyk. He is on a 3-fight losing streak, losing to Pantoja, Kai France, and Brendan Moreno. His next matchup, in my opinion, should be against the guy he was originally meant to fight in Asiu Almabayev. He obviously got eye-poked to death by Manel Kape in his last matchup. They had already booked Steve Usyk versus Asiu Almabayev. I think Asiu Almabayev is ranked number 8. Steve Usyk is ranked number 9. Just rebook this matchup. I think it makes complete sense for the flyweight division. So yeah, that is all the biggest losers in the UFC's in every UFC's division and who they should face next. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. Thanks again for the support as always. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you all again in the next one.